Hello, my friend, and welcome to Fear into Faith. This is our Miracles, Signs, and Wonders edition. I'm your host, Summer Day, and with me today is a studio audience. And also, we have an incredible, miraculous story of a woman who was in a car accident on the side of the road and twice, not just once, but twice, was told she might not live. And you're going to hear the miraculous story of how God showed up and said, oh yes, you're living. Welcome to our show, Michelle Hammer.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Such a privilege.
You picked the best day to come because we have the best audience. So much fun to have a live audience. It just makes everything more exciting. Okay, Michelle, tell us a little bit about you, where you're from.
From Maryland, lived there my whole life, and this car accident was 1 block from my home.
1 block from your home, lived in Maryland your whole life?
Yes.
Are you married?
I'm married for 31 years.
Wow, you only look 31.
Oh, I love you.
We're best friends now.
I knew I loved you already.
Have kids?
2 daughters, 32 and 29, and 4 grandchildren.
Wow.
8, 5, 3, and 1.
You're a hot-looking grandma. Look at you.
Thank
just
you.
Strutting your stuff.
I'm trying.
Amazing. And what do you do?
I'm a counselor.
Okay.
I have a private practice. I'm an author. And I just basically help women who are having relationship struggles, who are basically codependent is our key word.
No one likes
overcome that. No one likes that. Well, people pleaser, yes, girl.
I was codependent before.
Yes, me too.
I don't recommend it.
Me not at all either. Not a fun thing.
And you're an author.
I am.
Tell me about your book. 2 books, 3 books?
2 books.
2 books. Tell me
One
about
journal,
these books.
Extraordinary Moments. Excuse me. I just Ordinary Moments.
Ordinary
Extraordinary
Moments.
God.
Oh, wait. Ordinary Moments, Extraordinary God is the name of your book?
That's my journal.
Can you get that on Amazon?
Yes, you
That's
can.
good. Nice title. I love it.
Thank you. 21-day journal devotional.
21-day
Yes.
devotional journal. Okay,
Yes.
awesome. And what's the other one?
Boundaries for Breakthrough.
Come on. Boundaries through... Say it again.
Boundaries for Breakthrough.
That's good.
Very lengthy title and subtitle. Live as God designed, 8 essential keys for emotional well-being.
Wow.
It's a mouthful.
Good. That's good, though.
Yes, it is.
It's a very needed book.
Yes,
Very
definitely.
needed book.
It's done well.
I love it. You gonna do more?
I don't know. God told me to write that. I'm not like the big writer on and on and on.
I'm still working on that one that God made me write.
Well, God has you doing this. This is a big deal. And a lot of other things too.
I know. Isn't it crazy when He makes you write things and do things that you're like, what?
Yeah. I took time to write it, prayed about each chapter, and then now God's using it to help women. So it's cool.
it.
I love it. Yes.
Love your heart for women. That's
Thank
important.
you.
Okay, well, let's talk about this miracle because yours is kind of crazy. It's not just like one story, it's a whole nother story. And actually, I remember you had a lot more stories. You're kind of a walking miracle. And I'm like, there's only 650 words that can fit on this page.
I know, and I have 9 lives.
Meet my friend Michelle Hammer. She has 9 lives. That's awesome.
Oh, gosh.
So good. So when did this take place?
2010.
2010.
December 3rd.
Wow. You know what's crazy is how much all the people I interview, they always have that date memorized.
Yeah.
Some of them, I ask them about their faith journey, and they always they know that exact. It was Thursday, December 3rd, this year when Jesus showed up in my life, or when the car accident hit, or when I fell through the ceiling. All those things, people know that exact date.
Yes, exact date. In the evening.
Wow.
Should I tell you more?
Oh, yes, that's why you're here, Michelle.
All right,
Don't leave us all in suspense.
So I was out. We went to dinner, and afterwards I was playing pool with some friends. And
Nice. Did you win?
some of it. We're not pool sharks, but
I am. That's why I asked.
Oh, good for you. So I was driving home, and a friend had said, "Be careful. There's deer." We used to live in a neighborhood that had a woods that's protected land, and a deer came out on the road. And I also had dropped. I had a couple of things I was trying to put in my purse, and I know that's not right. But while I was driving, before I had started driving, and I realized I had dropped something.
I'm already having those creepy feelings you have when you watch a movie.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
already
yeah,
like, I don't know about you, but I yell at movies. Like I yell at the people. I'm like, don't do that! Turn around!
I know,
Turn
exactly.
the wheel. What are you doing?
So between that happening, like I reach down and look back up and I see that happening, and I just kind of close my eyes and hit what I thought was the brakes. My husband thinks I hit the gas, which could have been, because I flipped my car like 5 times. And I remember opening my eyes.
So you were alone driving?
Yes, and I remember opening my eyes and seeing woods, and I didn't know what to do, so I just like gripped the wheel and like was praying. Like I think I was praying the Our Father, like the first little bit of it, and then I end up flipping my car from
5 times.
Yeah, many times, like 5
Like my
times.
heart is pounding right now because when I was a kid, we were driving. My mom had a cow, and I remember like you would think that it's not that big of a deal because that's not like hitting a car. No, it is. It's so scary.
It is scary. It's scary. So I've learned now I shouldn't have swerved, but then there's mixed opinions of that because the paramedic said that my car was a really low car. It was a Tiburon and a little 2-door car, that the deer could have come straight through the windshield and maybe like. So I don't know what that.
I think I've heard that because sometimes they say it's better just to hit it, don't swerve.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I remember being in my car and everything was all dented up and I couldn't get out the driver's side.
You actually remember, so you were conscious.
Yes, and so I tried to climb out and I had so much pain like in my shoulder and my body and I felt super weird.
What were you climbing out of, like the windshield or out of the side?
So the car was like sideways, so I was trying to climb out, but I ended up getting out the passenger side and I collapsed. So long story short, a neighbor.
No, we don't want long stories short.
Okay, I'll tell you the long
This
version.
is a full TV episode. We want all the juicy details.
So I'm on the side of the road and I don't remember. I must have went unconscious and someone found me. A neighbor found me. And he said that he had felt like doing another lap around our neighborhood to hear his favorite song. Don't remember what it is. Sorry, don't remember what the song was. But
was it Jesus Take the Wheel?
It might as well have been, right?
So a neighbor only found you. So that's the first miracle.
Yes.
You know God's got something for you. He wasn't ready for you to go home. So he only found you because he happened to decide to drive around the block one more time because he wanted to hear that song. I've done that many times.
Yes, me too. So he finds me and calls 911 and they come and get me. And my husband and my best friend meet me at the first hospital. So I get to the first hospital.
So you were definitely unconscious when he got to you.
Totally, I can barely remember it. I remember being in the ambulance and like feeling really weird. Just I don't know how to explain it. Like losing my energy, or knowing things were wrong and being in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And at the first hospital, they had told my husband and my best friend that they had to take me to shock trauma instead because they couldn't help me there.
What is shock trauma?
Shock trauma is when you're really bad off. Like if you have gunshot wounds or a really bad car accident or you need a lot of work quick.
Wow.
And so I remember a paramedic saying, do you want to be heliported or drive real fast? I do remember that, making a joke, but he was serious. And I said, don't put me in a helicopter, please, because I was so scared. And I feel like they drove like 100 miles an hour. And I got to the hospital and I said, am I going to live? There were like people everywhere working all over my body. And she said, I don't know. And my heart started really racing, like super fast. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack, but it was actually a panic attack, come to find out.
Yeah.
And that's all I remember. And then it gets really hazy.
So you were having a lot of moments of just going in and out of consciousness. Okay.
My poor husband, they had him leave the room, and then they came back later and told him that I had...
Oh, this is a good spot to stop. They told him, we'll be right back after this. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back right where we left off.
Losing a family in the line of duty is a heart-wrenching, painful experience that no one could ever be prepared for. The emotional loss can be traumatic, and the financial setbacks can be life-altering. Blue Family Fund is a nonprofit organization that exists to assist the families of fallen officers and first responders. Our focus is to raise funds for higher education, scholarships for dependents of law enforcement officers and first responders. We are here for you.
Hello, my friend. We are back with the ultimate cliffhanger. And then he said, here we go, Michelle. We were talking about your husband. You are fading in and out of consciousness at the hospital in shock trauma, which I'd never heard that term before, because you flipped your car 5 times to avoiding a deer on the side of the road. Oh, my goodness. So what happened? Your husband said?
Yes, he was worried. He was wondering what he should do. And basically, he just went and started praying. Yeah. And then they came in to talk to me, but I wasn't conscious, so they started sharing with him everything that was wrong. And they told him, he said, that it was like my liver, if you took it out of my body and just dropped it on the ground. That was one thing. Then my spleen was sliced.
So your liver looked like it was all sliced up from being dropped on the ground. That's a very vivid, disgusting picture.
I know.
Okay.
And I had 6 broken ribs. I needed a pneumothorax. I don't know how you say it, but my lungs were filling up with blood. I needed blood transfusions.
You had to get a blood transfusion.
2.
Oh, you had to get 2.
Internal bleeding.
Jeez Louise. Oh.
I had a hematoma on my head. I had other problems that were just insane. So long story short, I'm going to keep giving a long version.
It's a long story longer. we're reinventing the term.
Oh my gosh.
Long story longer.
I'm in the hospital. Things keep happening.
Yeah.
And so, my poor husband, I'm on pain meds. I don't know what's going on. I'm like thinking I'm at work, and I'm apparently a handful on pain meds because I had never taken them before, and they're doing all these cocktails to try to control the pain.
Oh no.
Still don't know what's wrong. And then they did a surgery for me, 5 hours, sit still, lay still actually, and I had to hold my breath when I was awake.
Under?
When I was awake, I had to hold my breath, and they basically explained to him that because of all my injuries, I couldn't be put under, but it was a laser surgery, and they were going to literally, piece by piece, take every little tiny crack in my liver and laser it back together.
While
and
you're
hope
awake.
that it worked.
Dang.
Yes.
Okay.
5 hours.
Ugh.
Here's the good part. I was getting wheeled into the surgery room, and the song that was playing was What a Wonderful World. I see trees of green.
Beautiful, yeah.
Red Roses too, with the
Let's
original
get the whole
version.
audience with you if we have it. I see trees of green,
red roses too.
You gotta get a new audience, Michelle. It's okay. I'll let you guys work on it. We'll try it again.
And I just knew that was God. You know what I mean? Like, what a wonderful world. Like, I just felt so much comfort.
It's beautiful.
So I come out of that, and my husband had been with me the whole time, not slept, not rested, not ate. And somebody had come and said to him, you need to take a break. You need to just take a break. So he shared that he went outside and was sitting like on a bench, and someone approached him, and then they had this exchange where the person was asking him for money, and then he shared why he was at the hospital, and the person who was asking for the money started praying for him, my husband and I. And so
beautiful.
He said it was so comforting, the prayer he prayed. Then we fast forward a few days later. I know, not fast story, but fast forward in time because it's all blurry. I started having, I couldn't breathe. I started having more trouble. And so they did a bunch of tests, and still not sure if this was going to work. And they said that my liver had an infection from all the times that they were like literally putting it on fire, like lasering it together.
Oh, no.
And said that I was going to have to get a drain, like this experimental drain put on my liver. And probably it would take like 5 to 8 weeks for them to continuously drain my liver.
Oh,
and
my goodness gracious.
every time they came in to tell me something, I would say, go tell my husband, because I couldn't handle like all the things that they were doing and saying they were going to do.
Yeah.
And so he kept hearing all these scary things.
Wow.
And still wasn't certain that I would make it, but the doctors told him we're the best of the best. And like I had like a 3 out of 10 at this point chance after they did all that work. So my husband called his work and said, I'm going to need I could get teared up here, long-term FMLA, basically.
What's that?
Like family medical leave, because I'm going to be gone a while. Wow. And as he was telling his staff what happened, one of the women who worked for him said a similar thing happened to her nephew, and they prayed Ezekiel 16:6 over him. and he's fine.
Oh,
It
nice.
gets better now.
Well, spoiler alert, I knew the ending.
So that afternoon, my pastor came, his parents came, my kids were there, and they all formed this like prayer huddle around me, my nephew, other family members. And I kind of remember being in and out and seeing them praying.
And is this like 24 hours later? How long have you
This
been?
is probably like 5 days in.
5 days in.
No, I'm sorry, no. By the time they thought that I had the infection, it was like 7, 8 days in. I was there for 2 weeks,
Okay,
basically.
so it had been like a week of
Yeah.
up, down,
Yeah,
up, down.
yeah.
Is she going to live? We
Yeah.
don't know. And now it's infection.
And then they prayed this prayer. And I remember my pastor opening the Bible to that verse, and it said, while I saw you there laying in your blood, I told you live. And then I could see his face like, this is a graphic Bible verse. Like, why are we praying this? And then they all started praying. And the next morning, I was due to go in for the liver drain, and they did blood work. And they came back.
Yes,
and
because they always do blood work before they're going to take you into surgery.
And this was a big deal, like, iffy surgery. And they came back and told my husband that they had no explanation for what happened, but everything that they were seeing in my blood was all resolved.
No surgery needed, no drainage needed, nothing.
Exactly.
Come on, Jesus.
So
Did the nurses just like hit their knees for Jesus at that moment?
I don't know. I don't remember, but I know my husband hit the knees for Jesus.
So good.
He became such a stronger believer then.
Yeah, I was going to
mean-
ask about that. I said it, did the nurses hit their knees for Jesus, because somebody was like, have you ever thought about doing a miracle series where you interview like the nurses and the doctors?
That's cool.
Who experienced that. That would be
really
neat,
cool.
huh?
Yes.
I'm looking for some. If you know any.
Well, I know at that hospital, a couple of the nurses and doctors were so good to me. Like, they would come in and sit with me because I was upset, not knowing what was going on, and
Yeah.
hold my hand and pray with me. And that wasn't a
Beautiful.
Christian hospital.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
yeah.
So, yeah, your husband hit his knees. How did everybody else respond?
So my husband actually knew, like, it is explicable. And he has family members who, at the time, weren't as strong in their faith either. So he started sharing with everybody what happened. He was like a kid, like at a candy store, like started letting everybody know.
A kid in a Jesus store. You got Jesus, you got Jesus, you got Jesus.
And knows that Bible verse by heart. Wasn't a Bible verse memorizer, but knows the verse by heart. And, there was some like shaky stuff within the next week, just me trying to get better.
Yeah.
But then I went home, and it was months of recovery. I had to sleep sitting up because of my broke ribs and the surgeries for a month and a half, like sitting up. And then just one thing after another, having to go back and forth to shock trauma and get my liver checked, get my blood checked, get my lungs checked. I had the hematoma on my brain.
Were you guys ever worried again that maybe it would get infected or anything like that would happen?
Well, that's what happened. So I get home, and they have me taking these medicines, and I broke out in a rash.
Oh, geez.
And they're like, you got to bring her back to the hospital. Like, she had an allergic reaction.
I feel like the enemy was always just like, no, you're not getting away.
know.
Come back. Right? Like,
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my goodness. Speaking of coming back, we're going to take a commercial break. Woo! We're going to be right back right after this. I thought that was pretty crazy.
Are you tired, sore, not feeling as vibrant as you should? With today's fast-paced life, we tend to exercise less and eat not so healthy food, and that leads to aches, pains, and inflammation. But Neolife can help. Our non-GMO, whole food-based, cellular nutrition products were created by doctors and designed to bring back the healthy vitality that you've been missing. Get started with the Neolife Vitality Pack and say goodbye to aches and chronic pain. Regain your vitality. Visit myvitalitycenter.com and take control of your health. Visit myvitalitycenter.com today.
Science fiction fans, how does a teenage boy from Ohio become king of the Milky Way? Find out in the new action-packed sci-fi book and audiobook series, Richard, by author Michael W. Hickman. With famous author DNA in his blood, Hickman weaves engaging and thrilling sci-fi stories in Richard, Distant Son, Richard, an unlikely love story, and Richard, the Dragon's Curse. Search those book titles now on Audible and Amazon.
Okay. Da-da-la-la-la. So So exciting.
Welcome back, my friends. We're talking to Michelle. Had this car accident. Now it's like 7, 8 days up, down, up, down, up, down. Totally miraculously healed of your liver where they can't. I love it. That's my favorite. We can't explain what happened. So I'm like, did they hit their knees for Jesus? We can't explain it. It's because it was Jesus.
Yes.
And then you said you had another time where
Yes, I go back in.
hives everywhere? Like,
yes.
what?
A rash.
No. Ugh.
So they have to change my medicine, but I had to get rushed back to the hospital. They were thinking I'm going to have to be admitted. Again, enlisted all the prayer people, right?
Come on.
And basically, they gave me some cream and said, put this on, and in a few days, if it's still a problem, then we'll have to shift the medications, but we really want to keep her on the medication she is right now. Also, God was making a way in that because when I was back at the hospital, I was on so much pain medicine, Summer.
I bet.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
so I said, can we please take some of that off? Like me, and the doctor said, you're gonna be in some pain. And I said, I don't care, I'd rather have some pain than just be like so hazy. Because by the time I came home, it was like almost Christmas.
Yeah.
And the other cute thing is, I can't really walk really well yet or anything. So
We just declare that's on its way to be.
yeah, exactly. So we
time for
we are in the car. It's Christmas time, and the kids are like holding up Christmas trees for me to my window, and like pick one out, Mom. And then we get home, and the kids decorate the tree.
Yeah, they were so happy, I bet.
It was a really special Christmas that year for so many reasons.
I want to ask you, so how did this like strengthen your family? What happened after this? How did things change?
So, as you know, the devil's a liar, right? So some things got better and some things got harder. So my husband and I got really tight.
Nice.
And even tighter in our spiritual walk with God. But
Tell me more. How so?
so reading the Bible every day, praying together, doing a small group together, helping with ministry at our church together. Whereas before we had separate things. He's in the worship team at the church now. He's a bass player who used to play secular music. Then we started playing music for our church. So, and we started doing a lot of community work together.
Wow.
In this point now, we work together. People are like, you guys work together, you live together, you're married, but it's amazing.
You're like, yeah, we like each other.
We really do. And we didn't always like each other.
Oh,
There were some times when we didn't, right?
That's beautiful. And how did it affect your kids? How old were your kids at the time?
18 and 16.
Wow.
My 18-year-old was scared to death
I bet, yeah.
when that happened, and she really struggled for a little bit just in moving forward from that because of the trauma from that, but she's amazing. She's doing really great. She's in the same field I am. My youngest daughter really rebelled a lot. And you would think it would be the opposite, but she was in this phase where she just felt angry towards God, I think, and in general with everything that went on for the whole time, from the start to the finish. But right now, and she's just amazing. She has 4 kids, she's married, she's strong in her faith. But we had other things happen along the way. It's like after that happened, as we were climbing like the faith journey of sharing our testimony and things, the enemy would throw different stuff at us.
You just kept
Yeah,
trying to get
that's
you.
been the story of my life, Summer. I'm weird. My whole life has been weird.
Hold on. That's been the story of my life. I'm weird.
It just is.
Welcome to the table.
Like ever since I was little, it's sort of like one thing after another in my life have happened. I like David in the Bible, but I mean, God just keeps showing up, and I just keep coming back. I've always had very strong faith.
So-
very strong faith.
What are so you said, this increased our faith, but then we were getting attacked. What was the other side? So you're getting closer, you and your husband are getting closer. 18-year-old was doing better, 16-year-old rebelled for a phase. That makes sense. Sometimes that's how people process trauma.
Yes.
I taught a lot of high schoolers, and I remember one, having issues if there was divorce or a parent passed away or anything like that.
Yes.
Sometimes the kid was able to handle it, and other times I feel like they had to go through that season.
Yes.
Of being angry.
Yes.
And stuff like that. So what else? How else did you guys get attacked?
Oh my gosh, I don't. This show's only so long. I mean, 7 ways to Sunday. So my mom was angry. My mom's angry with me for going to a non-denominational church. So she and I stopped talking for 14 years.
No.
And just reconciled last year.
Oh, yay.
And she read my book, the whole 9 yards. That's one thing.
Beautiful.
One thing.
Beautiful.
We had all kinds of stuff go on in our community with different various people. We've had business stuff happen. We had a sprinkler.
Was this all happening right at the same time?
So this all
after your
happened
accident?
in a few year span. We had a business, commercial business property, and we needed to go into it to be able to do my counseling practice was moving to, and it like 6 months, one sprinkler head wouldn't pass inspection. And it sounds like a minor thing, but we had to meet with the fire marshals, we had to meet with the county, we had to meet with city officials. They were drawing up new plans, they were re-renovating this facility. And when they finally passed, they can't explain why. Again, we keep hearing, I can't explain why. And the actual inspector says to me, I think it was a poltergeist. Literally says that to me. Like, we didn't change anything.
I think it was a poltergeist.
Yeah, and we just had so many things go on. I mean, my one daughter, which, like I said, she was rebelling, and then we had my
How
grandchild.
important was your faith to you when all of this was going on?
It's interesting because you know everything was hazy for me because I was not well.
Yeah. And a lot of meds is not fun.
No, but it was God was definitely sitting me in a timeout, I think.
Ooh, God was sitting you in a timeout. Tell me more about that.
So, like I said, I've always had very strong faith, and I'm a pastoral counselor, and I was helping other people. But I can remember very early on, way back in college, a professor saying, "How many people in this room wake up every day and open their Bible and pray?" And like 5 hands went up, mine being one. And he said,
That's pretty much the norm. Most people in church every Sunday don't open their books. They don't read the Bible themselves. That's why we're so adamant to get people to read the Word of God for themselves, cover to cover in a year.
yes. Well, and he said, you know, when you're doing ministry and you're not being ministered to, you're missing the biggest piece, right?
Wow.
Like being filled by God. So in 2010, when this accident happened, that wasn't me anymore. Not every day, and not religiously, and not for as long of time. Life had gotten crazy, things were busier. And I just think God put me in a timeout back to...
So right before the accident.
Yes.
You just weren't really opening the Bible and praying and everything. So you think God allowed this to be a timeout to get you refocused in your faith?
Yeah, I was doing it, but not with as much regularity because it was just such a busy season. And I mean, I had kids and they were little, and I'd lock the bathroom door and try to, get time with God. But I was definitely, he was definitely teaching me something.
So then how did your faith change after your accident and everything happened?
Whew, I am bold.
Amen for the bold women.
Yeah, I'm bold. I don't hold back. I mean,
But before you were holding back all the things, and then this was like, whatever, I almost died. I'm just going to be bold for the Lord.
When I realized that I could have died, any area in my life that I was either compromising in any way or holding back or not addressing, forget it. It was like the gloves were off now. Yeah. And so it changed the trajectory of a lot of things in my life, because everything that mattered was kind of flipped upside down.
Yeah.
You know, when you don't think you have any more time, you know what time means. So now it's faith, family, fellowship. That's my 3 Fs.
That's my favorite F word. Faith, family, and friendship. Or fellowship, is that what you said?
Yeah, which is friendship.
So good. So good. Did your husband pick up on some of that boldness too?
Yes, he did. I think I might have got on his nerves a little bit over time, but...
How so?
I feel like I can be contagiously over joy-filled, and he's maybe more like smooth.
They're smooth.
And sometimes I am maybe a little outlandish with my faith.
Yeah.
So.
Well, believe it or not, we're coming to the end here.
Wow, that's
I know.
so much time.
Time flies
so
when you're having
fast.
fun. Well, thank you so much for being here and
welcome.
sharing
Thank
all
you.
of that. I just love your story, and so many different things that could have happened, and then you would not be sitting here.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Which I'm privileged to share it.
You're amazing.
You're twice as
And
amazing.
thank you so much for watching today, my friend. I just want to pray that boldness over you. I just want to pray that right now that you would be inspired by Michelle's testimony, and that God wouldn't have to do anything to wake you up, but to get you into bold faith with Him. And also that maybe, just maybe, this is your reminder that your relationship with Him matters, and that maybe you get to open that Bible today and you get to pray straight to Him today.
Amen.
And we'll see you next time.
Amen.